But the NBA, unlike other leagues, we often see the older players not paying homage to the changes in the game. They treat the NBA like it's milk as opposed to wine. They're like, oh, back in our day, the game was so much better. It's like, was it really? Were players actually better back then? Because we love the bad boy Pistons. We love those Knicks teams that scored 85 points, but a lot of those players don't have a place in basketball anymore. Like, they weren't skilled enough. They were just 6'8", strong, and could fight, and could grab a rebound. And then we hear the Shaqs of the world and the Chucks of the world just, going in on the youth. And you see what Shaq did with Donovan Mitchell. Was like, yeah, I just want you to know that I think you're good, but you ain't next level yet. I said it. Okay, Shaq. What are you talking about? You know how awkward that is for TV? And then when kind of confronted about it, was like, I don't have to explain myself to these earthlings. I got G14 classification. Like, yeah, Shaq, you can say whatever you want, but you're an analyst on TV. So if people don't understand what you're analyzing, you kind of got to break it down so we get it.
Yeah, I had a problem with Shaq's comments. I think it's fine if you wanted to say that, but that's not the venue to say that. That definitely came off as I'm not trying to give you constructive criticism. I'm just gonna criticize you for ratings, probably just for a headline. Which, I mean, I guess he met his goal because here we are talking about him 2 weeks later. But it was just a pointless comment, and I don't know. It's just I feel like in every situation, not just the NBA, but everybody in general, people like to get up on their soapbox and start off a story. Back in my day, my era was better or whatever. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't listen to the old dudes anymore that much, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a random thing to say. I think, period. Even if he would have tweeted it, it would have been like, why did you say that? It was even worse because he said it to him on air. What were you expecting to come from that? I think Donovan Mitchell actually handled it perfectly. I don't know what else you're supposed to say in a situation like that. And I don't know why basketball is like that. I think it's maybe because the players get remembered differently, or you right away will start to throw someone in comparison. Shaq was great, and immediately people were, I guess, comparing him to Hakeem and Kareem. And then right when Shaq's time ended and Dwight came, people were like, oh, Dwight's the new Superman. And Shaq actually has a personal vendetta against Dwight. He doesn't like Rudy Gobert now. Whereas in the NFL, football players like the young guys coming behind them. There are obviously some haters, but you just don't see the hate as much. You don't see any back in my day, these guys could never play against us. And that's all these NBA players, if they wanted to go back to the 90s, in our day, we would be doing this. And if they wanted to go back and play us in the 80s, you don't want to come play now either. You don't want Shaq out in a pick and roll on the top of the key. So the game has evolved. These dudes just want to relive their glory days. Shaq just needs to be secure in he's the best center of our generation. It's okay. Another generation will love somebody else. And all these dudes just need to get over it. They always just want to be well, in my time, your time's over. It's their time now. Just let them have it.
And that's what I really appreciate about what Kevin Garnett came out and said recently. He talked about how so often players 20 years ago want to say that the players today couldn't play in that generation. And he's like, yeah, you could hand check, you could guide players where you wanted to go. But now the way that players are playing, they're so athletic, they're so crafty, and they have these trainers and they're just working on these different move sets. And it's like, bruh, y'all strong feet and concrete asses couldn't guard them now. Y'all couldn't play in this league. Y'all might have torn ACLs and stuff like that because you're not gonna be able to stay in front of Steph Curry. If you think you're gonna hand check Steph Curry down the court, you're crazy. Blow by, or pick yourself up. What you think? Who's a defensive stopping guard from the 80s or 90s? What are they gonna do to Kyrie?
Be on the ground.
Yeah, I think you got to do time frames. So the best team ever, everyone's going to say, is the 96 Bulls. I don't think they could see the 0-1 Lakers, just the way matchups were, like who's guarding Shaq, Kobe and Jordan. I'll take Jordan over that one, but I feel like close to a scratch. Like Pippen, okay, you could probably get a big body on you. It's just going to be rough for them. And the Lakers shot a lot of threes that year. And if you want to say the 86 Celtics, people want to look at that, fine. But you can't compare any of those teams to anything past 2015. The game is drastically different. Their spacing. You're going to shoot threes primarily. Like, you just cannot compare them.
Do you know what the 17 Warriors would do to anybody else's favorite team ever?
Any of those teams would be obliterated.
Sweep. Get your brooms ready. It wouldn't even be pretty. It's like, oh, Shaq has 40, and Lakers lose by 15.
And the crazy part is that team, like, yes, they ended up winning game one, but a lot of people were like, if Kawhi doesn't get hurt, they don't even beat the Spurs. The Spurs would have beat all them teams too.
Yeah, that was a 66, 67 win team.
Yeah, so I just don't understand everybody wanting to talk about these teams. You cannot play with them. The pace, how much just bigger and lankier everybody is. Like, your passes are getting stolen. People are just, they're either in lanes or can hit and get into a passing lane so much faster. It's just going to be bad. Your center, who's 7'6" or 6'11", packing like 300 pounds, 290, is not keeping up with 6'10", 260. Like, it's just not happening.
And I just don't get why they just think it's better. It's like, you didn't score as much. It's a bad TV product. Yeah, it was more physical, but even though it was more physical, those guys on average aren't stronger than the guys now. What is John Stockton doing with CP3?
Nothing. CP3 is a tank.
Yeah.
And CP3 is a little guard. Like, John Stockton was pretty average for that time frame. CP3 is a small guard, and he's what, 6'3"? Guards are big now.
CP3 is like my size.
What, like
Like
6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah.
He's like 6 feet, 175 with thighs and ass. Pause. But you're not.
Yeah,
you're
he's a thick guy.
Yeah, like.
But guards these days are big.
Come on, man. Dame Lillard pulling up from 45 because he practices it.
Yeah, are you telling me Gary Payton, even his 96 glove year, is checking Russell Westbrook? Like, when Russell Westbrook is right, not Russell Westbrook now, but like full head of steam Russell Westbrook? No way.
Like, I don't understand why the old guys don't think, like, if they were playing today's game, they would be doing all the same stuff. Like, that's just like not how they were brought up. So, like, I don't understand why they have an issue with it. Because, like, I mean, those guys were good athletes. They just didn't focus on, the things that basketball players focus on now, from the age of like 6 on, where a big man is going to have handles, bring the ball up the court, and just kind of this positionless like NBA that we're in now. Like, I think if Shaq was like a teenager now, he'd bring the ball up, and he probably, what's up?
He'd be Giannis.
Exactly. So, like, I don't understand why they get so mad.
And I don't understand why they don't see the game that way. And I was listening to Cowherd one day, and he was talking about, he was like, yeah, some athletes, they're really good at the game, but they don't think the game. And when you hear these analysts talk about it, it was like, well, yeah, see, the way we played, we would do this and this. Well, there's a reason why the game's not played that way anymore, because somebody found a way to make it better. So I hear you, but no, bro. Like, think outside of your own bubble and give yourself enough credit to say, I'd adapt to this game.
I mean, Shaq has a son, Sharif, probably around like 6'8", 6'9", who, I caught an LSU game a couple of weeks back. He was playing on the perimeter for the most part. Like, that's his own son.
And he raised him that way. He used to tell him to watch Kobe, watch LeBron, watch T-Mac. Because he has the big house in Orlando. When T-Mac was down there, he would have like T-Mac and them come over there and work with him and teach him the game. And it's like, so hold on, Shaq. You can think this to your kid, but you can't think this to yourself or to your analysis on TV?
Shaq, by and large, is the most sensitive one also, which I don't get. His legacy is like cemented, and it's great. You are a top 10 player all time, 3 finals MVPs. and you had Kobe on your team, and Kobe was like putting in work, and you were just that damaging. It was like 30, 13, and like 3 blocks a game in the finals for 3 years in a row. Like no one's touching that. It's all, you don't need to be such a hater.
Bro, it makes no sense at all. Like, even if Chuck will make some type of comment about, well, Shaq, you probably could have won 3 more rings if you would have came in shape. Don't talk to me like that, Chuck. Google me, Chuck. Google me, Chuck. Bro,
It was actually a pretty good Google me, Chuck.
Yeah, it was.
I've been working on it. But it's like, dog, we know who you are. We respect what you did. And the thing is, you could have still been better. And Shaq even said out of his mouth, I didn't try to be the greatest. I tried to be great with the least amount of work, which I don't knock that. That would be my approach. I'm a Melo fan. Get your bag, get your money, live your life off the court.
Yeah, but being as great as you can be without trying and still being a top 10 player all time, like, it's just crazy how good Shaq could be if he wanted to be. And maybe that's why he's mad. But I don't understand, man.
Because he didn't leave it all on the court. Hey, kids, leave it all on the court, buddy.